Returning now to our story on the international coalition against the militant ISIL group, and we're joined over the phone to discuss this but with political analyst Sabah Jawad. Sabah, thank you for joining us today. Now, how effective do you think the coalition is likely to be?
Well, it's part and parcel of the previous conferences we've seen so many times, and so-called alliances. They talk a lot. They don't produce basically nothing. The parties who are fighting effectively terrorism in the area, Iran, Hezbollah, Syria, and Iraqi volunteer forces, are not in this conference. They've not been invited, and I'm not sure they want to attend such conferences, because this conference contain a lot of people who were part and parcel of the support committees for ISIL and other terrorist Qaeda groups and so on. They were at the birth of such organizations originally in Afghanistan, and they spread and supported them, give them a lot of petrodollars, with the support of the intelligence services in Pakistan, in America, and in Saudi Arabia and Qatar. So these are the people. Not long ago, they were supporters of terrorism, and now they pretend they are actually fighting terrorism. But our people have long memory. They remember all these facts and figures about these people supporting terrorism. We have to wait in the next few weeks and months to find out actually that the items before on the agenda before this conference, whether it's going to materialize, because they're talking about stopping finances for the terrorist groups. So we should really anticipate in the next few weeks and months they start to put pressure on Saudi Arabia and Qatar not to finance these groups. But unfortunately, we are not optimistic that these kind of things are going to happen.
Yes.
And at the same time, they not utilize these groups to try to get the regimes.
Now, we know that the attacks in France have put great political pressure on the Western governments to do more. Aside from the military factor, what are we likely to see?
Well, I mean, the Western public opinion actually is very much against terrorism, because I think they're beginning to realize actually that their government, by supporting these terrorist activities in Syria and so on, encouraged these groups and expanded these groups, and now they are taking the brunt of such activities, as we've seen in France as well. I mean, in France, 17 people or so got killed, but in the Middle East, hundreds of thousands of people been dying as a result of these terrorist atrocities as well. So the Western government have a lot of things to answer for, and not only actually helping to commit murders in the Middle East, but they are also helping these terrorist groups to kill their own people in the Western countries as well.
So what do you think is the most effective way to curb what's happening now? You're saying that the atrocities are still continuing.
I have a personal view, very strong view, is that actually if we want effectively to fight the terrorist groups in the Middle East and to win over them, they should leave us alone, not intervene in the areas, because once they intervene in the area, they destroy the countries actually, and they weaken the struggle against terrorism. They utilize terrorism sometimes to push their own agenda, and when these terrorist groups start to threaten them, like for example, they wanted to move in on the Kurdish region leadership, which is lackeys of the United States in Iraq, and also threaten Saudi Arabia and Jordan. They try to contain them by bombardments, very limited bombardment, and so on. So, I mean, the West utilize these kind of things, and I support very much the analysis of Sayyid Hassan Nasrallah when he said the West are not interested in defeating terrorism in the area. They want to contain them because they threaten some of their regional allies of the West in the area as well. So whatever they do is very limited. The real fighters against terrorism are Syria, Hezbollah, Iraqi volunteer forces with the support of Iran. These are the true fighters against terrorism in the Middle East.
Political analyst Sabah Jawad, thank you very much for joining us today.